when I'm uploading a poster and I close my mouth, a lot of people like, yeah, no, you look good when you close your mouth. A lot of people, why are you not smiling when I see the cap? We love the cap. I'm a funny guy. But because I don't have teeth, the corporate is scared. You know, like I could be telling a funny joke, but I do have a look that I could rob anyone in the audience.
Nkululeko on Cultr.
So how would we know if a president is gay in South Africa? Like, how would we pick that up if a president is gay? Because I'm sure he would never disclose that he's a gay man.
Yeah, ne? Wow, that's deep. Like a president in Africa still gay. Yo.
What would be the telltale signs?
Well, the Ugandan president will let us know. The Ugandan president will make sure that he's not sitting in the same room with the South African president.
That's a good one. That's a good one, actually, because but it's illegal to be gay in Uganda.
Yeah, it's illegal, and they are very
There's a life sentence as well.
Yeah.
Damn, man. Does it not indicate deep inside maybe gay?
Yeah, ne? Because it makes me think, like, the way you're asking me this question, like, it makes me think, do you remember that the documentary that was shot in prison, Johnny Mongro?
Yeah, so John Mongro, yeah.
Johnny Mongro was detailed how he was having other men in jail.
Yeah.
But also made sure that he's not gay.
Yeah, he did make it a point that he says, I'm not gay.
But he
says, I look at you in the face.
Yeah,
look at you in the
face.
I think if you look at, so we can observe Nelson Mandela, Jacob Zuma, Thabo Mbeki, and Cyril Ramaphosa. And if we're looking for signs of whether or not a president has ever been gay, I think maybe Cyril Ramaphosa gets close to, like, if you look at the way he speaks,
okay, that's
the closest that gives you a sign, if there was a gay president ever, maybe that's the closest one, because he speaks with
he's always laughing.
Yeah,
especially when white people are talking. He's always laughing. Yeah, but I think Thabo Mbeki was more creative. He was a poet. He was doing soft things.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I understand. And there was nothing masculine about that president, but he was very smart, but he's soft-spoken. So I think we would believe that Mr. Mbeki is... but it's not. But yeah.
It's interesting. The other thing about being president, that's a limitation. I was thinking about this question actually a lot. And I think that's gay to think about that question as long as I did. But anyways, we are here.
Why are you thinking about these things?
Yeah, well, that's why I was saying maybe deep down.
Why are you thinking about gay presidents?
There's a gay in me deep down. I'm thinking like, if you wore earrings and you had a scar, I've never seen a president who has a scar or who is Rastafari with long dreadlocks, or he wear earrings. Like, what are the things that you look at a person and you're like, there's no way this guy could be president, just based on the way that they come across?
Yeah, Kwatamandasha, there's no way. Yeah. He's in parliament, but there's no way he could be president just by the way he's talking. Yeah. You don't trust.
It doesn't give a
yeah, you don't trust him. Yeah, he's right, general something, secretary general, but not president. But yeah, not even in Jamaica that the president has dreadlocks.
Yeah.
Not even in Jamaica.
There's a misconception about Jamaica. We think that everyone in Jamaica smokes Kanja.
Yeah, we think so.
But that's not everyone in Jamaica is a Rastafari.
Okay.
I don't think everyone in Jamaica is Rastafari.
What is Rastafari? Because I'm sure weed and dreadlocks don't describe, like, it's not. It's part
Rastafari
of the thing.
is a religious belief.
Okay. You don't eat meat.
This is weird too, actually. But one of the telltale signs, of course, are dreadlocks. Not all the time, but generally speaking, I mean, the reggae artists have dreadlocks and they like Kanja because they say that they meditate on the Kanja.
Okay.
Right? But I don't think that everyone in Jamaica is Rastafari. I do look at Jamaicans. So is Usain Bolt Rastafari?
Yeah. No.
It doesn't look Rastafari.
No, it doesn't look so.
Yeah,
it doesn't look
and
so.
all the other runners as well, Shirley and Fraser Price, all the sprinters in Jamaica, they cannot be Rastafari and they cannot smoke weed as well.
I think this Rastafari thing is just in the music.
Yeah.
Because it's not even in the soccer. Do we have proper Rastafarians in the soccer
in football,
team?
they're not allowed.
They're not allowed?
Yeah, because it's a performance-enhancing drug. They wouldn't be smoking ganja.
Oh.
Yeah, but so in order for you to be a Usain Bolt, you can't be smoking.
There's no hope in seeing a Jamaican team winning a World Cup most without their ritual. Because they know the world, those guys, like if they walk in the high,
Yeah.
the World Cup goes to a dark country.
I once listened to a comedian saying, look, we should not be considering ganja as a performance enhancing drug because ganja slows you down.
Yeah, but it does. There are certain layers. Like, I did eat some Kanja muffins a couple of weeks ago. I don't smoke weed. So someone tricked me to this thing. They looked amazing. So they taste great. But the moment you sip alcohol, then you start going crazy. That's when I realized, because they say Kanja exposes your character, your real self.
Sure.
And then I realized, damn, I'm uptight. I was snapping on people and stuff like that. I was like, no, I'm okay with my fake self.
Yeah.
Because if that's my real self, I'm okay with my fake self.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kanja, wow, it's not an enhancement. I think it exposes what you really are. It exposes your talent.
Yeah. I used to enjoy ganja when I was younger. But I don't smoke it.
You don't look like you smoke.
I don't smoke, yeah. Like when I was younger, growing up at KTC, I used to smoke a lot of drugs, recreational and hard drugs when I was younger.
Wow.
And then eventually you grow out of that. Hopefully.
Okay.
You grow out of that.
Do you think politicians do smoke? There's a certain politician that will smoke.
Yeah, that's a very good question, actually.
Since we started on gay politicians.
I think I'll go back to your politician. I think Mandela, the way that he speaks, he speaks like Mandela speaks, and I like it. Like I like people who speak speak from the heart. Yeah. I think that smokes weed. Yeah. Sometimes.
I think we'll get along very well with King Dalindyebo.
Yeah.
You see how Dalindyebo exposes himself, like the weed in there, like the truth will come out. Like if the leaders were smoking weed, like less corruption, yeah, more transparency.
Yeah. What do you think it would do to Julius Malema? Do you think it would sound different?
I think it's already there. Like I think he's on a natural high. Him and Dalindyebo, he even bought him a car. That's why, like, I'm like, those guys, they get along.
Yeah. I don't know. He looks. I've seen videos of him at parties with Julius Malema, and it looks a little bit different. Like when you look at him, he looks vibey-ish. He's in a dance mood, and sometimes the DJs as well. I think the militant Julius Malema in front of the camera, if he smokes and he has to do a press conference, I don't think he would sound like the shutdown was very successful. It would sound completely different. If he smoked and then he had to do a press conference.
What were you thinking about? You think?
Oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, this is Seya. He's a comedian. He's an award-winning comedian, although he's poor. Although he doesn't have any money, but he does have awards.
Exactly. Exactly.
Do you think we'll ever see a president without teeth? Someone that looks like
statues.
Like a president without teeth.
Yeah. Anything is possible in this country. I think if they accepted a comedian without teeth and a rapper pitch black afro without teeth, and it's possible. Someone else is gonna shock us. Yeah, and come back and come with a cap. I'm surprised that we don't have a lot of politicians without teeth coming out of Cape Town.
Yeah,
because they should be coming from that place. Actually, I don't think TA allows, because white people and the look,
Yeah. That's a good point, because that's why I asked the question. I've always been fascinated with this question, like even in my 20s, about what could happen to you that would eliminate you completely from being a candidate to presidency. That's why I'm saying, if you have a huge scar, like you were in a fight somewhere and then someone stabbed you, if you have a huge scar, automatically I think it disqualifies you from being a president. Not because people won't vote for you, but your team, like whether you're in DA or EFF or ANC, someone is just going to make that suggestion. Look, if we put this on a poster, a lot of people will be scared.
Exactly.
Yeah, but would say, okay, this looks like a bank robber or something like that.
Yeah, and then just like me, when I'm on a poster, when I'm uploading a poster and I close my mouth, a lot of people like, yeah, no, you look good when you close your mouth. A lot of people, why are you not smiling when I see the cap? So imagine you are campaigning and like, we're not going to vote for someone who's closing his mouth. We love the cap.
Yeah.
Because even in comedy, it does happen, that thing. Like, I'm a funny guy. But because I don't have teeth, the corporate is scared. You know, like I could be telling a funny joke, but I do have a look that I could rob anyone in the audience. So people get scared. Get scared. No, not Seya. Call pops.
It's weird. Like, it's weird. The look is very deceptive. I've hung out with I don't have friends per se, but I've been, because of the work that I do and the success of some of the stuff that I've done, I'm around people who look a certain way, but they're snake as like they're shisty. They will kill you, but they're actually pristine. Like, in front of the camera, they look clean and they good. That's why I never emphasize on my look. Like, every time I shoot this content, I always have like a fucked up t-shirt and all of that. I'm like, bro, you either gonna believe me that I'm a good person or you're not.
Yeah.
But when you see someone in a suit presenting themselves nicely, and then they their wife, their sister's wife, and their secretary and the sister's secretary. Yeah, but so your presentation is a very interesting aspect of human life.
And this is one thing I've noticed about, like, you know, Israel said the same thing, like, all the good-looking guys are in jail. Like, the most good-looking guys, like, they did the most serious crime. The ugly guys, they just check where EP phone. Yeah, well, so even like I saw this during the Mtata thing, when that lady who got killed by that guy who was abusing him and stuff like that. Yeah, I remember I was with a group of ladies and they were talking about this. Yo, man, what they're doing to us, man. Yo, and then the picture of the guy that allegedly did the thing was like, now they changed the tone, like, wow, it's so good looking. Like, like it doesn't look like him. Like it looks like who? Like it looks like who? Like, you know. So looks are always placed on something. You know? But we always get surprised when a good looking guy, like, who's this guy? Tabo Baxter, is it Tabo?
Oh yes, that. Yeah.
Another good looking guy.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah.
But it's gay to call people good looking.
Yeah.
It's gay to call other men good looking.
Yeah, when you're not, you're supposed to call them good looking. If you just appreciate a good looking man.
I grew up ugly and I'm still ugly, and I do notice other men who are better looking than me when I'm in the room.
But do you notice?
I do notice. Like I'm like, this can get any girl that.
Have you ever felt under pressure when your woman is speaking to a good looking man?
That's a good question. No.
Maybe
because I'm successful, like so it cancels each other out. Like I would be more insecure because I'm ugly. But if I was ugly and unsuccessful, maybe I will be more insecure.
Yo, no. I'm ugly and unsuccessful, like you just said. Like, rub this success on me. Because I saw what you did with Junior Kanja. You came here without teeth, and now look at him. And he's writing books.
Yeah.
Yo, I knew this one. Ghetto Ninja. I knew this one.
Yes, so he was part of your team. He had gap.
I was so disappointed. When they filled it, I was so disappointed. Yes, like, yo, and people were starting putting pressure on me, like, see you next. Like, yo, bruh. I'm not gonna buy things I used to have. You know? When I go to heaven, I am prepared to answer God's question. My son, I gave you teeth. What did you do? I am ready. I'm not gonna buy.
I went to prison.
You went to prison?
Yes.
Arrested? Went visit.
I was invited by I was invited by prisoners to go to prison, right? What is this? Leuko prison. Okay. Oh, she was there as well. So she can confirm.
So you've been to prison?
Yeah, she's been to and she's in Pakistan. And the guy, bruh, like, I had to be between her and the guys because I'm like, hey. And there were other two women who were so good looking. They were gorgeous. I'm like, this is a trap sham. Yeah, well. But I went to prison. That's not the story I want to tell. I went to prison, and the first thing that we saw there when we went inside was bricks.
You went with the crew with DJ Cleo?
No, there was a different time.
Okay.
This was more recent.
Okay.
So Briggs was singing the national anthem Nkosi Sikelele Africa, and he's a beautiful gospel singer. And I when I went there, it was such a trip because I enjoyed it. But I was like, if I ever told people that I went to prison and Briggs was singing Nkosi Sikelele Africa, I don't think that people would believe me. and he was singing gospel as well.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, damn, man, like.
And he chose the wrong song because he can't sing under band. In there. He's putting himself in danger. Why would you bring women in jail like Pakistan? Because if you bring like hot women in jail, some guy is gonna pay for it at night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, some guy is gonna pay. Point, yeah. So you are responsible for whatever happened to a guy screaming at night in jail. Did you ever think about that? Like,
well, the MC was saying, like, I'm washing your eyes.
Yo.
Like, he was saying, I'm doing you guys a favor in a good way. So this is the angle. I'm giving you something to masturbate about tonight. That was it. Like, unfortunately for the women, they might feel like they are being objectified. But, I mean, guys in prison, they could either satisfy themselves through masturbation or through sodomy.
Yeah.
The guy was saying, I'm giving you something to look at so that when you are in the shower, he didn't expand on that.
Yeah.
Well, people understand it. It's like, okay, cool. I'm giving you something you can.
Yeah, someone was not happy to see women there because they knew what was going to go down.
But Joe, you could see people were peeping through the window. Like, the guy is like, if you've never seen a woman in 3 years, like maybe you don't even get visits.
Bruh.
You've never seen women in 3 years. That to you is the equivalent of having an just by looking at them. It's like, for the first time in 3 years.
And I was in Royal last night.
There you go.
You understand? Stop doing crime, man. Stop doing crime because you're going to live years in prison.
I think it's a great motivation not to do crime in the because you know what you're going to be deprived of.
I like the fact that you started the show with gay things. So now you're taking us back now.
Yes.
You do crime, you're willing to be gay. Inside. It's someone who's open-minded. If you are a criminal, then you are open-minded. You are bisexual.
What do you think you would do when you're in there? Like, in terms of sexual satisfaction?
I think I will get... I think I can't fight. You know, I think... I will just give myself. I'll be someone's wife.
Nah, man.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'll kill myself. I can't.
Ish.
I can't, bruh.
If it happens once to me, because Nami, I don't like fighting. I don't like knives.
I'm not a fighter.
If it happens to me once that I get, I think I would take my life as well.
No, knowing the chance of being that day. Yeah, because you can see people will offer you plates. Yeah, and cigarettes, because they say that's the thing. Don't be greedy.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Don't accept anyone's
Don't accept gifts. Don't be a slave queen in there. The rules apply in jail. Because out here, like, when you buy a lady a drink, and then like, oh, now you're expecting me to go with you in jail. Yeah, they're expecting it. Just one cigarette. Yeah, you are married, lobola.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think your comedy could take you out of certain situations.
It has taken me out of many situations.
That's what I'm saying. Like, maybe you're underestimating the fact that if one of them will know you. Because those guys, I was surprised when they announced me to go and speak there. Those know Itiski TV and they know me.
And
they were shouting my name. So they have data and they have phones. So one of them would have seen you.
I know.
On YouTube or whatever.
I know. One of my boys from Tanzania, he was in jail for 10 years. He was so proud of me. He told me when he came out, bruh, you got me through my last year in jail. And I'm the one who introduced him to crime. Like back in the day, because I would go to a taxi rank called Highway, would steal fruit and sell it. So that's how we got introduced to crime.
Yeah.
You know, and then he was so shocked that I became a comedian later. I was like, no, bro, I was not serious. You are the one, carrying guns later on.
Yeah.
But they do have data and stuff like that. And there's people who are free out here, texting us, Seya, can you buy me data? The prisoners have data.
What if they have Wi-Fi even? Maybe there's a hotspot your Wi-Fi in prison.
I know, because they got wardrobe, they got a suit. This Tabo nigga had a suit.
Damn.
You understand? He was on video call. He organized the party from inside. He has money. Who's this? The sushi guy.
Yeah, okay.
He came out of jail rich, successful.
Yeah.
Inside.
I think jail is fascinating for me because Ukene Kunene and Ugator Mackenzie. So when I was 17, I was at a high school called Trafalgar. I changed a lot of schools. 1 year I went to like a model city school, just 1 or 2 years. But most of the time, I finished my matric in a township school at KTC. But there was 1 year where I spent at Trafalgar.
You went to a township school?
Yeah, throughout my life. Throughout my life, except for 2 years.
Yeah, but your English, yeah.
I worked on it when I was 10 years old.
You worked on it?
I said, every time I'm listening to people on radio, they don't sound like how I sound. Like Abantu Basekase when they speak. So they used to. So when I was 6 and 7, they used to say, "Yo, there's gonna be white people." So that's 96, 97. I'm 1990. So in 96, 97, white people were trying to see how townships look like because after apartheid, right? So some of them would go there and open computer labs and like that. Gardens, garden programs, and one of the teachers somehow noticed that I could read English. So then every time white people would come to our schools to do computer lab, gardening or whatever, or some acting thing, I would just go in front of the assembly and welcome them. But the way I was saying it was not the way I'm saying it now. Like, welcome to our school. Thank you for the computer.
Or just like my English. Because we can tell, like, between me and you, your English and my English. But we went to the same level.
Yeah. So when I was 10, it dawned on me I need to work on the accent. Because I wanted to be on radio.
Okay.
I knew from the time, I always knew I was going to be like dope. Like, I'm going to be on radio. Because I was listening to radio by the time I was 5, 6, 7. I had my own stereo. It was 10 minutes and 10 rand. And I would listen. And I'm like, but those people are speaking the same English. And I taught myself English. And I understand it. But I don't sound like them.
Yeah.
So I worked on... And I realized as well at some point when I was growing up that when you speak English in a certain way, people take you less seriously.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need to work on it. So I cultivated it. But it was not a genius thing to do. It was, I'm listening to the radio. I want to sound like the people on radio.
Yeah.
And then I cultivated that. Repeat the that they would say. And I'm like, I'm sounding closer and closer and closer. And then the people on TV. That's why our English as South Africans is like some catch between American English, because we influenced by American
and white people.
But white people speak weird English.
But we want exactly. But the
how
guys,
are you, Nkululeko, bro? How are you? I don't want to sound like that. My neighbor Ellen sounds like that. Like,
your neighbor is Ellen.
That's
why you are successful.
So I was telling the story when I spent 1 year at Trafalgar. So Gayton Mackenzie came to our school.
Another one.
He came to our school. He had a book called The Choice that he was selling. He was studying out. He came from prison. It was a year maybe that he had come out of prison.
Okay.
And he had a book called The Choice. That book changed my life because I was dabbling in some criminal shit as well when I was 17.
All right.
But gang shit from Ekasi, when you're 16-year-olds carrying guns for the first time, smoking for the first time. And his book, he told us, like, this is what happened to me. I was the most wanted bank criminal in South Africa. This is what was happening, blah, 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 blah. And in prison, and then he told the story about, in prison, there was this kid called Wimpy. He's a white kid. So depending on your features, your physical features, you become sexy to the prisoners. But your value increases based on your features.
Okay.
So this kid is blonde. He's not even supposed to be there. Actually, they pay the guards to go and steal them from a juvenile to go to the adult section, and they maybe 4 or 5 men.
Someone requested them.
Exactly. But and then they raped him, and Gayton is saying that was the moment that made him, because he was a respected member of the 26 gang, and he's saying things would happen there that he didn't give a about. Because he's a general or is a respected person there. So he knows it's not going to affect him. But this one day, this 14-year-old blonde kid is a little bit tall. They raped him and they beat the out of him. And he was drowning in his own blood. And then he woke up he says in his book, if I wanted to, I could have stopped it. When I woke up in the morning, I had so much regret because I was asking myself, why am I bothered by this? Because every day things happen here, and I'm not bothered. But that day, I was like, this is it. Like, I have to change things. And then I took that kid to the wardens, blah 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 blah. They didn't give a. They were like, how much did he pay you? Why are you worried about this? And so on. But then what they did was, the reason why they got out of prison earlier is that at that point, it started to take, it was a tipping point for Gayton Mackenzie. He's like, I am going to request someone to send me CCTV cameras, small cameras
Yeah.
that I can put in small cups, into a joke or a tea bag,
Okay.
cardboard box. I can put it, drill a hole a little bit, and then we could expose the criminality.
Yeah.
And then they did that. Like they videoed all the footage.
So Gaten was exposing his own
People.
soldiers.
Yeah.
He's a snitch.
Inside. Wow. You could say that. Yeah, you could say.
Snitches get stitches, but yeah, he got rich. Yeah.
Yeah, well, but no, I'm telling you,
And the councillor lead the mayor.
mayor or something like that.
Mayor, you're no longer living that life. Thank
So
you.
basically, what happened was eventually they exposed that. The people from inside tried to kill them because they were exposing it. It played on special assignment.
Sure.
And then there was a commission. It was called the Jali Commission in 2003, 2002. And then, of course, so if you were left with like 6 years, it was a crew of like 6 or 7 people. About 18, about Kenukunene. And then if they were left with like 5 years, they could serve it outside prison.
Did he mention like how he got arrested, the 14-year-old?
No,
because
it was between, like, it was a long story. Like the point of his book is to tell his life.
Yeah.
But he says this is the thing that changed me when I was inside.
Yeah.
This incident was like, he knows this kid comes from the juvenile side. He's not supposed to be here. He's being pimped. And actually, on the special assignment episode, what they actually showed was a guy, the transaction where you go juvenile, you pay the garden 50 rand to go and get you a young kid. You give him 20 rand and you fuck him and you enjoy it because he's 15 years old or he's 19 years old.
Yeah.
And you could see, on TV it was blurred, but you could see what's happening. Like you could see there's the bed and they're
they want fresh blood. Damn.
So
yeah, because I'm trying to understand, like, do we feel sorry for another prisoner, that goes through things like that? I mean, the reason why you went to jail is because you did something outside.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you killed someone or you attempted to do something to
that's
someone.
That's a good point. I think the human in us, you kind of feel sorry before you know his backstory.
Yeah.
You feel sorry for what happened to him. Like you don't know his backstory. But then when you know his backstory, depending on how matured you are, you could still say that's an 18-year-old who did a stupid thing.
Yeah.
He's 18 years old. And when I was 18 years old, I did stupid things too. It doesn't mean that the punishment for me is for 4 men to rape me. And he was actually saying that at some point when they really want to fuck with you, if they really want to punish you, they take you and they deliberately set you up in a situation where you get ganged by guys who are positive. Like 4 guys, they specifically know these guys are positive. So that's a camera like they
death sentence.
Yeah.
Like we say,
there you go. They probably call it that. Like they know that you're definitely gonna die from this.
Damn, you don't come back the same.
Yeah, and that book, when I read it when I was 17, like it shocked me. And at the time I was having a problem at home and I ran away from home and I lived alone. And that book, I used to read it all the time and I'm like, I'm gonna be successful. I need to stop all of this and all of that stuff. Yeah, but it shocked me in that I was like, there's no way I'm going to prison. Like there's
no way.
There's no way I'm going
I knew this when I was a kid without even knowing what is happening in prison. And then until I watched that documentary about another one. The roughest prison in South Africa. The one, it's in Eastern Cape, that prison. Things that are happening. It's on YouTube. Those guys are young, good looking, but the things they are doing, like they are so, Yeah, I know I'm not going to jail. I knew long time ago. I imagine, since we started with the presidents, imagine Robben Island, what was happening. Because jail, it's another mentality. Now you must think, haven't seen women in a while. Do you think politicians were like normal jail? Like
that's a great segue, because I read Long Walk to Freedom.
Okay.
Yeah, you got Nelson Mandela. And there's no mention of how they were relieving themselves there. And I think it's deliberately left out. Because think about it, you're there, he was in prison for 27 years. But at Robben Island, you must have spent 20 years at least.
Yeah.
20 years. So how do you relieve yourself? It's an island. It's not like you can pay because these guys can pay the gardens, the wardens, to organize women for them. But now, what happens when you are in an island?
I remember, I don't know. I think again I must have seen this in a documentary when Nelson Mandela was talking about how they would fight about a celebrity of that time, like a Kanyimba of their time.
Yeah.
While they're in prison, like they will fight over Ibona magazine. You know.
So that's clearly one way to relieve it.
Yeah, exactly. Bona, bruh. Imagine, not even hustler, Bona. Just the face. They were so
The
innocent.
idea of looking at a woman.
Yeah, they were still struggling.
Yeah.
You know, to get a picture. Oh, their struggle was too long.
Yeah, it's weird. Like that's why the first thing that most prisoners do when they come out is to just locate a woman.
Get laid.
Just try to get laid.
Get as many as you can.
Yeah. What do you think would happen to someone if they spend 20 years without, like, without it coming out at all? Because you can't think about it when you're outside. Because somehow you get women. You're married, or you have a girlfriend, or you buy prostitutes, or you can't think about it because it's not inside contained.
I'm sure they will turn into generals, like a general in prison. I'm sure his anger, you know, will be the ladder to where Mr. Mackenzie was, you know, like, because he was not having with his kids, you know, so that's how he got there, because he was angry, because it calms you down, bro.
Yeah.
You know, it calms you down. A touch of a woman calms you down. There's none of that there.
I don't know, man. You see, like, that's enough of a motivation for someone not to go to prison.
Don't do crime.
Don't go to prison.
But imagine you go, T.I. said this as well. Imagine you go to prison, right, for drinking and driving.
Shit. And
your cellmate is a because that's what happens.
They bundle you all together.
Yeah, because a car, just by owning a car, well, it's something that can get you to prison.
Yeah.
Yeah. Choop choop. 4 kids, boom.
Damn.
You know, he didn't know. Now he comes back tougher, you know. Yeah. Breaking relationships, you know.
I've always also been fascinated by how we look at prison as a place for rehabilitation. Like, so this is easier to describe than when you're actually going through it. So if someone comes in my house and I'm not there, maybe they take the life of my family, right? And then they get apprehended. Let's eliminate the part where I would want to kill them, because that's obvious. I would want to do that. But they get apprehended, they go through the trial, and they get 15 years. For whatever reason, because they're going to look into their background. This is a 17-year-old kid who was misled. Let's give him 15 years instead of a life sentence. Now, for me, what's curious is the other side, the family side. What makes I, as the victim of such, think that 30 years will make a difference as opposed to 15 years?
Yeah.
What's my idea of... what's the point? Is the point for that guy to spend 5 years there, think about what he's done, and maybe come out rehabilitated? Or should he spend 30 years there? Am I satisfied with 30 years? Why am I satisfied with 30 years and 20 or 5?
Because your closure, you know, and your fear of prison, you are thinking that person is suffering. It's a long suffering situation.
Yeah.
You have no idea how happy that guy is in there. Happy. Some of them are happy criminals in jail. Like, that's why in the township, like, they keep getting arrested. Spend 6 months in jail, comes out, another crime, gets arrested all the time. Like, if you get arrested all the time, do you think the criminal is good at his job?
That's a curious question. He's not good at getting away with the crimes, clearly.
Why would you do something and just getting locked? And
there's an idea about a person being institutionalized,
okay,
which means that they get used to the rigid structure of waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning.
Okay.
They know clearly that at 6 they're going to eat, and at 12 they're going to eat, and then at 3 p.m. someone's going to close the gate. So eventually you spend enough time in prison, you get institutionalized. And the idea, think about it, like for you have to think about what you're going to eat tonight.
Okay.
And it's going to come from your pocket. Me too, and all of us are going to have to think about where are we going to get our food.
Yeah.
Of course, if you get paid, it's not so much of a thought, because you know, Gucci, there's food. I've bought groceries for 5,000, for 1,000, whatever, right? But then people who are in prison for a certain amount of time, they get used to it, not because it's nice,
okay,
but there's some safety in the idea that I know that when 9 XN, someone is going to cook for me. 2, someone is going to cook for me.
Yeah.
They're going to close at 3 or they're going to close at 2 p.m. There's like a rigid monotony of structure that gives you where you feel like when you're outside, all of a sudden, you're not going to eat until you hustle. Like it's pending. The idea that you're going to eat, it's pending. You're going to eat you're not going to eat until the moment you can get something to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like you'll get bread when you get 10 rand to buy bread. Yeah.
But it's like this thing of 9 to 5. Like you wake up at this time.
Yeah.
Your break is at 12.
Yeah.
Then you knock off. Then you get paid 12 times a year.
But I think it's a very interesting question that you ask about particularly that. But I'm also like curious about this. When if someone, so for me, like the way that I asked myself that question as I thought about it, like if someone kills my family and they get 5 years, I said to myself, if the idea that 5 years is going to rehabilitate them so that when they come out, they're not going to kill other people, then I'm not happy with it because I still lost a family, but I'm satisfied that the whole point of rehabilitation was done. But I'm saying I acknowledge that that's easier for me to describe it.
But you as a successful man, you'll commit crime and get arrested.
Yeah.
And then pay people to put you in the jail where he is. And finish that thing.
I wouldn't do that. No.
Yeah, that will make a dope movie if it hasn't been done yet.
Yeah. How was Kylie for you?
Yeah, Kylie again. Yeah, since I've gotten in here, like we're talking about crime, like Kylie.
I didn't know that's the first thing you think of.
Bruh, I was born in Tanzania. Like Tanzania had when I was born, like I was born in 1984.
Sure.
So Tanzania was like is known for crime besides boxing, but
you know, for me, I know it for boxing. Yeah, I love boxing.
People who've been there, like Nkewu, you know, so there was so much criminal activities going on in the township back then. But I've never been robbed in Tanzania. I went to Cape Town. I got robbed every day. Kylie, every day. Like now, like this is like past mountain times. I'm thinking I'm a man.
That doesn't help you.
It doesn't help in Kylie. And those kids are small. Kylie, no, bro. Like I get robbed during the day, not at night. All my robberies are during the day. They took TVs. I went to buy a TV. They took it. Everything. I was not supposed to have a phone in Kylie. I had a Motorola. They took a stupid Motorola, bruh. Kylie, like there was so much crime. So
when you went there, you were how old, if you remember?
I just graduated. I think I was like 21. Yeah.
What was the idea for you to go to Cape Town? Was it job specifically or entertainment?
Never been there, so it was job. Okay. Because I'm also was into radio because I did radio,
sure,
audio visual. So I wanted to be on radio as well. So I went there because in Eastern Cape there's no industry.
Yeah, for sure.
As such, so I went to Cape Town to find my way because I was scared of Joburg because a lot of people they come back to Eastern Cape to to die. It was like it was nice in Josie, right? Yeah. So I was like, no, Cape Town is the way to go. So yeah, that's how I landed in Cape Town.
Yeah, and was it family or like it was random? You just went to a Kylie. There's no Magazi or uncles.
It's Magaz. Yeah. It's aunts and whatnot. I went to Magaz the first time I was in Westlake. I stayed just next to Paulsmo prison. Yeah, again prison keeps coming up. I stayed there. It's like my aunt was selling drugs then, was selling tick.
You snitching.
She stopped. But they're not gonna arrest her. She's selling fat cooks now. That's all. They will fly.
That's an extreme change of business.
Exactly, because she has the money,
Okay, she can afford now.
Yeah, she's just used to selling things, Yeah, I'm sure she's trying to, all those guys that lost weight from the drugs she was selling.
She's refeeding them.
Yeah, because I saw drugs, right? Like, drugs, they are fast. Like, her drugs were fast. Like, you see a good-looking guy coming through, and then I don't know why he decided to buy drugs, and then he buys drugs, and then you watch him deteriorate in front of you every time.
It's a great weight loss program.
Bruh. Every time you take his money, he looks different. Every time. And you see your product is working, bro. Like, it's very fast. Yeah. So and then I moved to Cultr to my cousin's sister. And yeah. And I always get kicked out. They always kick me out.
Like, is it a personality thing? Or?
It's industry, because you're not gonna get a job on radio the moment you graduate.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
So my thing took time. It's still taking time now.
Was it like when you got there? Was it radio specific, or at what point does comedy come into the picture?
It was radio. I wanted to, because I knew like I had opinion about everything.
Yeah, you actually dope. I need to say this on camera. I listen to you on True FM. I love hip hop shows.
Yeah.
People don't know that there are shows that I listen to that people don't know I'm listening to. Like, I'm like, nah, I don't care. I love hip hop. I'm listening to this. So today is Friday. We're shooting this on Friday. I'm going to listen to Tanzania FM between 7.
Wow.
After I eat Ski TV, I'm going to come back, listen to Tanzania FM between 7 and 9. Those kids do hip hop. And tomorrow I'm going to listen to a few hip hop shows, including True FM. And then on Sunday, there is a hip hop show. Like, hip hop globally, I'm like,
you're a real Cape Town guy.
I love hip hop. Like, it saved me a lot. Yeah, so I listened to you.
Oh wow!
When you were doing a show with Yakim on radio, and I'm like, damn, I could speak with this guy for ages, because your flow in conversation, you dope. Like you. I've always had this perception that comedians have to be smart too.
Yeah.
You know, and it shows. Not everyone, because I've been disappointed with some comedians, but
I did disappoint you.
No. I think you're a dope conversationalist, bro. So, and you spend some time in Cape Town. And what are you doing specifically? Like, if you spend a stretch of like 6 months when you were there, or a year, what are you trying to do? Are you knocking? Trying to get regular jobs, or are you looking at radio stations?
I tried everything. I was digging trenches, I did everything. While you're looking for a job, your main job, you take anything. And I ran to a guy called Lau Fenter, who was on SAPC 2 doing Corne and Twaki, and then
I remember Corne and Twaki.
Yes. So Corne was doing a show, and I went to him because I wanted someone who's gonna put me on. I was trying to network with people. And then he was like, no, he has a show. Come to the show and then talk to him afterwards. So I went to his show. It's a stand-up comedy show. He was doing a one-man show. And then, the bug beat me in his show. I was like, damn, this is what I should be doing.
And they were delivering it in Afrikaans?
In English.
Okay.
Yeah, mixed with Afrikaans. Like, all white people. After the show, he was talking to people like, this is more like radio. There's a mic. It's just that the audience is here, and... that's how I started doing comedy. And then I was like, no, radio, I can't get a job because I'm not connected enough. So I want to get a diploma and stuff like that. So I'd rather do this one. So since then, I've been looking for stage time on stage, like comedy.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. And it's difficult, because South Africa is not a monolithic country. So what that means is that we don't all speak the same language.
Yeah.
So if you were in Norway, you have a better chance of succeeding because people will understand your humor because everyone speaks the same language.
Yes.
If you're in England, same thing as well. People understand your humor because we're all speaking the same language. The fucked up thing about the South African context is that you're closer, so you are most likely going to appeal to Eastern Cape and Western Cape, but then there's no industry there. Then you have to move to Joburg.
Yes.
But Joburg, they can half hear you or they can 30% hear you. It's not the same thing, and the humor is not the same as well. Like, I've been thinking, I want to talk to a lot more comedians. But as I think about this, I'm like, there's going to be days where I'm not feeling the comedian. And it's only because we come from totally different places. It's like, you vendor and I'm Xhosa. But it's possible that we could vibe with each other.
Yeah.
But also it is possible that because we're completely different in languages and mindset and upbringing, we may not understand each other.
Exactly.
And that's what informs people's humor. Your upbringing informs your humor.
Yeah. But even your own people sometimes, you can they can like not understand you because there's like different things happening like within the language.
Yeah.
Because stand-up comedy is not like music. Like you
a dope song is a dope song.
A dope song is a dope song. One song can make your life.
Sure.
One joke, you must write more and more and more, And with the content of comedy, because I swear a lot on stage, so I deliver.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's another point as well to be made about your comedy.
Yeah.
It's the same with the EFF. let's say that the EFF, so I'm trying to make a point, a very important point. Let's say that the EFF's message was less militant.
Okay.
They would actually, I'm not saying that they should do that because
Okay.
I like it the way it is
I love
anyways.
it. Yeah.
But I listen because I'm very observant with audiences and people.
Did I say I love it? Oh God. My career has
You listen to people, you're in a taxi, Umamelo Magogo, and some randomly in a taxi there's radio playing.
Yeah.
Right? Inkokheli EFF uJulius Malema ithi iANC ngumnqondo weparty. You see, like that type of thing. And then you look at the older generation listening to that shit, and they were like, yeah, Umalema, yeah, Umalema. And you're like, there's no way that party is gonna appeal to these ones. Yeah, but so with your brand of comedy, it's dope, but I already know it's gonna eliminate a number of people.
Yeah.
There are people even with YouTube channels, as free as we're supposed to be, there are people who come to YouTube channels and they're like, why are you swearing?
Exactly. What are you doing on my page?
What the fuck are you like what the fuck are you doing? Yeah, but so there's also that aspect of it, that the style that you've chosen, because there's swear words in it. Tina, we're the hip hop generation, so we don't care.
We don't care.
We grew up in hip hop.
Exactly.
Right? We grew up on swear words, but some people may not like it just because of the style. Yeah, but so when you were at that comedy show and you liked the way that the bug bit you there, and what was your then journey from that point? At what point do you like think, okay, Cape Town is not big enough? How many doors did you have to knock on, and then you come to Joburg?
Yo, it was a back and forth, my relationship with Cape Town, because I stayed there for 8 months, went back to Eastern Cape, and I failed Cape Town, went back. Then I was like, no, Eastern Cape is not happening, raised enough, and back to Cape Town. And I went to Cape Town for the 3rd time. And then this time I was not doing comedy in English, because I started doing it in English. So I decided, no, I'm doing Vernek. I went to Kailicha, Kukule, to Kolisomboza. I was organizing shows there. I was also organizing shows. So I saw Cape Town is different because they accept, those were the first people to accept me, my vulgarity.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. Because there's, you know, Cape Town.
We've been there, bro.
Because the colored nation is close.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
language is free. Xhosa is.
We are a different brand. I'm a Cape Town Xhosa person.
Yes.
We're a different brand to the Eastern Cape Xhosa.
Exactly. I love the Cape Town, the way they accepted my situation, like the way I deliver my comedy. And then, I got tired of poverty and I came to Joburg at 32. Well, in 2015. Yeah.
How much of a frustration was it for you? Like, because I think all of us go through the same journey. There's a reason why I eventually opened the Disc TV.
Yes.
Because radio was like, I'm knocking and I'm still stuck on community radio. And then fortunately I was working for Sokala Duma, which was my main income.
Okay.
And which was a decent income. But still I was frustrated. I'm like, damn man, I'm dope though. Like, what's happening? You know? But at a certain point, I'm like, I came to Joburg when I was 29, which was 4 years ago, right? And then I just was so demotivated, but I'm not a loser. I'm inherently I'm not a loser.
Yes, sir.
So you are demotivated in your head, but you like, I'm gonna do something about it. So I did something about it. I made moves that informed the way that I'm gonna be successful or not successful. Yeah, but I'm curious about your journey in that. At what point did you like, what the f- is this? Like, I'm old. I'm getting old. What the what the f- is this? Like, why is it not moving?
Well, it was knowing, like, you know, with the white people in Cape Town. Cape Town is so beautiful. It's so loud. It's in your face. Like, you see the white comedians, right? You see the colored comedians. Like the bread starts white. It's there. They're chowing, and then the colored guys, they feed each other, and then you are always outside feeling cold. You know, even though you're killing on stage, it doesn't matter. So I was like, damn, I'm tired of being hungry. So let's see Joburg, how it's gonna, whatever Josie wants me to do, I will do. Yeah, well, so I came to Joburg, and then Skhumba took me in. And then we did
Shout out to
shows.
Skhumba.
Yeah, shout out to Skhumba.
What does that mean? What does taking you in means? What did he do for you? How did you meet him?
No, I met Skhumba 2011 when I was still doing English comedy in PE, you know, and they introduced me to Vernek, you know. Sorry. And I've been touring, so I get these things. So I've been we did 2011 99% Xhosa comedy, you know, and Skhumba was like, guys, there were Eastern Cape comedians, and He was like, guys, who's going first? Comedians don't want to go first.
Yeah, no one wants to open.
No one wants to open because they don't want to be forgotten. They want to get the ladies after the show. So I was like, okay, I'll open. So he respected that. So I killed it, and then he told me, like, when you get to Joburg, highlight me. He was still doing Caprivi back then. So I was like, yeah, but it took me 4 years after that to come to Josie. And when I came here, he put me on his show, Soweto Theatre, and then told David Kowell about me, dope reference, told a lot of people who are running comedy gigs that no, Seya is the one to, So there's a long line of comedians in Joburg, long line. So I jumped that long line and straight to becoming a headlining comedian.
Yeah.
And I've never headlined anywhere in my life. So in my 30s, I was headlining and I started doing comedy. Yeah, I was 9 years in comedy when he put me on.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was the relationship between you and him now?
No, we're still good. We're still good. It's just that the distance, because I moved back to Eastern Cape, so we don't talk as much, but we're cool. Like, we're beautiful, and we're doing a show together. Market Theatre booked me again. It's a state theatre. Is it Market Theatre, right? The one in Joburg, Market Theatre, 14 and 15 April. So, yeah.
That's dope, man.
It's still beautiful.
How does the money look like in comedy? Because I follow you on your social, and I do see you posting your shows.
Yeah.
You're in Tembisa, you're at this place, you're at that place, and now Skhumba, I do follow him. He's in Mpumalanga, he's here, he's there. What does the money look like? Like, because I do see, like, it looks like some of the venues are like taverns, some of them, and I'm like, okay, what could possibly be the amount that they paying you there, or what? For me, there's so many questions.
Yeah.
Maybe let me start with the part Yemali. Like, how lucrative is it to do these smaller venues?
Comedy has its own culture. When you're starting out, you need those venues, those taverns. You need even now, when you got a name, when you're testing new material before you take it to a big stage, you need that situation. But it's how it's ran. There's a lot of free entry shows, which is a problem. Skhumba taught me that as well. Don't do free entry gigs. There must be payment made. So, it's difficult because owners, they don't want club owners, they don't want their own customers paying at the door.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And
they may not come back tomorrow.
Exactly.
They may not come back tomorrow.
You depend on on whatever the owner decides to give you. So, it's not good. It's not that good down there, but it's beautiful when you create your name. You are smart enough to use social media, and then you use your talent wisely, do a one-man show and tour. For me, I make most money on my own when I'm doing a one-man show. So it's not bad at all. It's not that bad.
Okay. You could live off doing, like, if you, let's say, for example, mathematically speaking, if you were doing two shows a week with those smaller venues, you could pay your rent.
Yes, I paid my rent here every month.
Yeah.
You gotta work hard on your craft. Comedy comes from pain. So unfortunately, your career in comedy goes through a lot of pain, like financially. So so you learn how to maneuver your ways. Like, if you wanna do TV, that's your angle, you must have an angle. Like, how do you want to build your career? You want TV, radio, Skhumba vibes. You want acting, Eddie Murphy vibes. What do you really want? Because now with the social media, there's a lot of influencers.
I wanted to ask you about that. Because everyone, especially with, I don't know, maybe with, I think even with the isiZulu comedians, there's Amawele, Asa Chesterville, Abos Ban, people who build their name. I think Usiana Mapumulo built his name on social media. You may never know whether or not someone was legitimately a comedian, like a thoughtful comedian in the first place, but they were thoughtful enough to create something for themselves. And even with the Eastern Cape guys, and I'm sure with the Sutu guys, if I was following them as well, that you would find someone was funny and they created like 100,000 people following them because they were doing funny videos. And all of a sudden, you see it with Abo Kanye Sokenga and all of the Xhosa guys, that they start from being comedian. But there's a line there. There's a line. Uncle Tops and stuff is interesting in that he speaks about things, and sometimes it tries to be funny. But is he really a comedian so that you can book him? I'm not saying he's not. I'm just observing that, and him and everyone else. Just because Umafa Bavuma comes across as funny, perhaps on his radio show on Mhlobo Nene, is he really a comedian funny type of thing? So the lines is blurring to a point where those guys could make more money than you guys who are professional comedians. What do you think about that?
Yeah, we think about that all the time. All the time. We talk about those things all the time. But it is also beautiful at the same time because, I talk to Uncle Tobbs. Like, I like his way of doing things online.
Yeah.
And he can tweak it and do it on stage. I remember the first time I saw someone who was popular on social media being booked at a comedy show was Aya Queen. You remember the short guy, Aya Queen? I was like, bro, this guy's getting paid more than us. And he just said one line. One line, Aya Queen. You're like, bro, Aya Queen. No. I mean, I saw how Tobbs is working on his thing. Like, he's always on his phone editing his stuff, So he just needs to tweak it and use it on stage, and he's actually doing it, Who else? Was Oleg, dope comedian now. He was killing it on Facebook. On stage, is killing it even more. So
you can see that there is a transition.
There is a transition, but for now, what is happening is like it has no shape, but it's shaping itself. It's gonna shape itself, and some people will create themselves to become comedians and actors and whatnot. So
yeah, I mean, you can't. So my work is mainly in football.
Yeah.
Right? I don't imagine jumping on top of the ball at the Maimane Piri games is the equivalent of being a PSL player.
Okay.
This is the thing, like, you're jumping on top of the ball, playing Maimane Piri games, at the Mahlobo games. That's not exactly saying that you'll be a good wing forward, or left wing forward, or right wing forward in the Premier Soccer League or the English Premier League.
Yeah.
And that's actually happened. Like, Uskwama Samantarian, Tsepo Matete is a freestyle footballer. He calls himself a footballer, but as I objectively observing him, I'm like, oh, this guy is very good. Like, he even does this. Like, what's the point of doing this playing football? Yeah, boy, he dances on top of the ball.
Wow.
Guy. He's a piano footballer. But then because of the hype, they buy him to PSL, and then they get shocked when they can see, no, this guy is a freestyle footballer. There's a guy from Cape Town that we grew up with, Unjogwana. I just forgot his name now. He's a juggler, he's a ball juggler, and he's very good.
Yeah.
But Unjogwana, it never occurred to him that he never lied to himself and think that he's PSL material.
Yeah.
Because his skill is at juggling the ball. And I think that the same thing could be inferred in comedy, or you can translate the same thing there in comedy, that just because you're good, because videos are curated.
Yeah.
Like, you can curate videos and be funny and have different angles and say cut and and do it again. But it doesn't mean that you're going to be a good stand-up comedian.
Yeah, you also started talking to soccer players. Now you're talking to comedians and everyone and politicians.
But I've always known those things. I've always been dope. Like, I've always known those things. I've always read.
Now it's going to be beautiful. The water is going to be pure. Like, I like what's happening. Like, what happened after lockdown. Because, like, social media, you see a plaque, like, social media became big. So people... So social media became big and gave people opportunities. Like, no one expected lockdown, So a lot of things, chaos happened during that time.
But it is true that it's not everyone who's going to be able to translate what their successes on videos that they shoot over and over again and then put them on stage. Because I respect people on stage, bro. Like, I watch a lot of...
stage is another beast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I went to Baxter and Artscape when I was in Cape Town. I used to just go there and watch all of these things. And I'm like, I used to watch those people acting, those actresses and actors acting for an hour, 30 minutes, and no one misses their lines. And I'm like, there's no way I could do this. I probably could, but I respect it so much that I'm like, there's no way I could do this.
Do you know, I saw someone on Shamponiza's show. I was booked that night, and Tsotsi, you remember Tsotsi?
No.
Who's the guy? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He tried doing comedy, died on stage proper, lost respect, lost so much respect. Tsotsi, come on, bro, you should have kept it there. But he's a funny guy, naturally.
This is the thing.
But the stage is something else.
And think about this. it probably would have come from, there's a character that he was doing where he was robust. This is massive.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Someone can curate that character for you. Someone they are writing those lines. Of course, you infuse some of your personalities in it, but that's cut and action. You can start it and restart it. It's not the same thing as going on stage and being dope. So I love your spirit of accepting people from social media, but we have to acknowledge the difficulty in that it's not the same thing, and it's possible that there might be a 50% conversion rate. Like 50% of the guys that are good on social media, half of them maybe are good on stage too, but not all of them. Some of them are gonna bomb.
I don't know. It's a beautiful thing. Let them. It's beautiful to watch someone die on stage, bro. Like it's like, yo. It's beautiful. You know, I died last night on stage, ne? And everyone came to me like, "Seya, I'm sorry, but they didn't tell you it's a petty audience." I'm like, bruh, it doesn't matter. I couldn't sleep.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because it bothers you.
Yeah.
It bothers you.
And, you know, you learn from death. You know, from dying on stage. You learn. Like, you know what? These guys are coming from social media, trying out comedy, but they're going to end up somewhere. They are comedians like, Kaya Zanga was a comedian.
Yeah.
Look at him now. You know, he walked through comedy and became something else. Comedy is like you said, you love comedians because they're smart. Like, for some people, for me, it's a career. For some people, it's a bridge to something bigger. You know, Ed Dimas will be like, I'm not going back on stage, you know, because
the last time I was on stage was in 1988.
You know what I'm saying? But
people at the time respected him as a comedian. They saw him as a comedian. He's a hero of many stand-up comedians.
You know what I don't like about comedy, the behind-the-scene politics, is that people, they try to claim comedy and own it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That like, no, you're not a comedian. You shouldn't be doing this. You know, things like that. Like, bruh, if someone wants to try something, you know, like they're like, I can do that, because that's how I became a comedian. I was like, I can do that. I am not funny by nature. Outside the stage, I'm a very serious person. You know, I write jokes and stuff, but on stage, I'm something else. You know, so these kids, they are learning like, oh, this is a craft. You know, and then they get booked as emceeing weddings, and then now they get to create, you know, something else, and then. It's a beautiful thing. Comedy has always been a bridge to something else. So I feel like we should allow them, you know, but as long as we protect them in a way, like with the lineup, you know, if we had smart promoters who can, okay, I can book Tobbs, you know, I can book Mafa, because Mafa has charisma. You know, people love him because he has charisma. Like,
as well.
He makes light things like in the room, bruh, he makes the room shine, you know, and then he makes it easy for me as a comedian to come in, you know. So it's a beautiful network of things, and comedy is very hidden, like you said. We do it in clubs and taverns and whatnot. Yeah. So with these people who have these big numbers, we are using each other. They want the platform, we want their numbers. You know, so it comes together nicely. So now comedy is going to start making money because no one is jealous of the platform, you know, and the audience is smarter than us. You know, the comedy audience is so smart, like you know. People who come to comedy shows, they dress up, they look like they go to awards. Some of them are doctors, successful people. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not a successful person.
So comedy is a proper place for people to meet and become. Look at Kaya Zanga. Like there's gonna be many more Kaya Zangas coming out of comedy. So I feel like it should be like let it go, man. Let it grow. Yeah.
It must be very difficult. So South Africa, the composition of South Africa is that 20 to 24% of the population is Zulu.
Okay.
And 15 to 19% is Xhosa.
Okay.
So that Nguni group alone, those two groups alone, are almost half of the population.
Exactly.
So it's somewhat easy. That's why Skhumba is Skhumba.
Exactly.
He's dope, but there's an audience for his dopeness.
Exactly.
When he's talking on Kaya FM, which I love, when he was doing it, those videos that were popular, is because it's consumable because people can hear it and understand it. But it must be difficult if it's Onga and if you're a vendor, because those are the least numbers. Like they have, I think, somewhere between 9% in terms of the population, 5 to 9%, which is like, it works out to around 4 million or 2 million people.
Reminds me of my boy Bongane Dube. Is a vendor guy.
Yeah.
Sounds like Dave Chappelle. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
You get to hear that is vendor when he's like, oh no, I'm vendor. When he tells you that is vendor.
Yeah.
So they must speak English. Man, it's 11 languages in one country, so it's quite difficult because we're not speaking the same country like you said. Like it would have been easier, man. That's why sometimes, like when I'm watching American comedy, did you watch Chris Rock's special?
Yes, I watched.
Did you watch his vulgar there, bro?
Yeah.
I'm like, people are so crucifying me for being vulgar, but
Yeah.
Chris Rock.
And it was live as well. Well, what they did was that they said on Netflix, I was watching it here, and they were saying that this is what we took from the live show.
Yeah.
We didn't edit it out because they actually fucked up one of the jokes that he was trying to make about Jada Pinkett.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's dope, actually, because most of the time, I'm a huge Dave Chappelle fan. So I've watched every stand-up comedy for the last 20 years. As I got Dave Chappelle that's available to be watched. And to see Chris Rock and doing what it did, I was like, that's dope. That was dope. And it's to your point as well. Like, everyone understood it. Not everyone agreed with his response to Will Smith and all of that. But you're like, it's funny. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's amazing. I loved it.
Yeah. So you can only probably achieve that if we all speak the same language or two languages in one country. When there's 11, and I think in Ethiopia there's more than 50, something like
one
that.
country.
Yeah, in one country. So it probably is difficult. You probably can't be a stand-up comedian in other countries.
I think in this country it's better to say than kaka. Yeah, like it's better to swear in English than, because English is the language. So let's just all speak English then, Yeah,
it makes it sound as though you're not saying "kaka" when you say.
Yeah, because it's in my vocab so much. Like I've said it so much. Like it's.
Have you ever felt like you need to change anything?
Change to English.
Not necessarily English, but like the vulgarity. Yeah, to be. I don't care. Like I just love comedy when it's free and the way it's supposed to be.
The delivery was never planned.
It's nerves, maybe.
No, it's not nerves. It's where I come from. Like umakhulu mamchawe, I used to swear a lot. A lot of people thought I was being abused. But I was actually loved. Like I know a lot of people, but just by hearing me talk, like, yo, Seya, you must have grown up hard.
Yeah.
Like I was loved. And I've learned that people who are swearing are the nicest people. I am a nice person. And I think ubukwata, being rude, it's not saying and whatnot. It's lying and saying I love you, I can't live without you, and then I see you that all these things, they come sweet, all these bad things, but when I deliver in my honest truth. I listen to hip hop a lot, and I'm inspired by rappers. Eminem, like I've never seen the guy, but I know a lot about him through his music.
That 1999 Marshall Mathers LP. That was the first time I heard someone on CD. Like he was on CD.
Good
in that album, and then he also kidnapped the mother of his child, Haley's mother, in that CD. And you're 9 years old, and a new world is introduced to you. Like it breaks the glass of the innocence. You're listening to the Marshall Mathers LP,
cleaning up my closet.
Yeah, and it's like, what the.
Because he was telling us all about himself.
It told everything.
Yeah, same here. The audience doesn't even know how much I've told them. Like my daddy issues, when I'm being dumped, like when I'm going through it, I leave it on stage.
Yeah.
Like all of it. So I can't sugarcoat, pain and make it look like, wow, it's funny. Yes, it's funny, but like I deliver it in that, in that situation. So I can't be really clean.
Yeah. It's pretty helpful for comedy to have a place or comedians to have a place where they are seen and heard consistently. So when we were growing up, we used to watch Pumonati, the Pumonati show on SABC1. And this is the first time you see a guy like Kagiso Lediga for us. Spikos, you would see guys like that.
He fixed his teeth.
And you see them. And then at some point, Kagiso is involved with, I don't know whether he's a creator, but is involved with the Bantu Hour as well, which was playing on Friday nights on SABC2. It's actually the reason why I would watch TV, because I don't like TV.
Yeah.
But I would watch it. And I saw Brahu and a lot of comedians there. You get introduced to them. You know, and then Dave Chappelle, of course, he does the Chappelle show with Neil Brennan. So it's like the being seen consistently by people in a show somewhere is helpful. I don't think that there is something like that. I know that Mzansi Magic or those things on DSTV would do comedy nights, you know, and you would see stand-up comedians. But maybe sketch comedy is very helpful because it's a slightly different format. And then it helps you see your favorite comedians in different kind of environments. They're not just having the microphone and joking, you know. But I think there's a scarcity of that in South Africa, so that the younger generation don't have new heroes. Those were my heroes when I was growing up in comedy. Those are my comedic heroes.
You see, now you're talking exactly what we were talking about. That's the exchange that is happening right now with Abomafa Pavuma, Uncle Tobbs. All these guys who are coming from the internet to stand up. You know, they coming together and like they're chopping up ideas, you know, like how did you get those numbers, you know, like how do you write jokes, and then, you know, it's gonna blow beautifully, like exactly like that. So those heroes are gonna be created online, you know, because the media is controlled to create whatever it's supposed to create, but the internet is free, you know, and a lot of people are on their phones watching what they really like to watch, you know. That's why we got 100,000 subscribers, because the soccer lovers, you know, you give them what no other TV channel is giving them, you know. But on the internet, you bring something amazing. So that's why it's exactly happening that Tobbs is doing comedy, and I'm learning from Tobbs on how to build numbers online, you know. So yeah, it's happening.
That's a good point, actually, because for me, I still think that there's a significant number. That's why Uzalo, as uncreative as they are, in my criticism, they still get like 8-9 million people to watch them every night. That's the number. But it's because it's free to air and it's at 8 p.m., you know, in prime time, free to air. There's a significant number of people who cannot transition with us online.
Yes.
Although, of course, we have to continue doing what we're doing online, but there's still like a stable number. Up to a point where every street has a Wi-Fi, then we will start to see that transition happen.
And don't even say the kids today don't have heroes, bro. I'm sure you are a hero to some other kid out there, you know, wants to do sports and all. I remember, I'm sure maybe you know Masebe.
Oh yeah, Masebe Cleaner. I used to read him on Sokalatuma.
Yeah,
he was one of my heroes when I used to read his articles. Masebe Cleaner, yes.
He was my classmate, like when we studied together.
I used to read his articles when I was in high school.
He used to pile Duma every day. Like, I was so shocked that he's working.
He worked at Sokalatuma. Yeah, I worked with him when I worked at Sokalatuma.
Wow. So he had heroes, like, but you'll never know that, you know. So you'll never know that there's kids out there watching you, like, right now. So by the time the internet blows harder than what it is now, your name will pop up.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful time to be alive and be part of this situation, because this interview would have never happened if it wasn't for internet and your success and your intellect. Yeah.
I want to ask you about what's the best way to approach YouTube for a comedian? I've seen your YouTube and I've seen you get to 20,000 or 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
I understand that there's two things that could possibly happen that make you maybe apprehensive. This the idea that on YouTube, your stand-up comedy, if you upload it there and you drop it there, it's free. To different audiences, you may work on the same joke because it's acceptable in comedy. You're still working on it. Maybe you add new layers of it. But then when you take your jokes and put them on YouTube, by the time people are seeing you in shebeens and taverns, they've already heard that joke multiple times as well. How does a comedian work? Like, I've seen other comedians in America who they just put maybe a 5-minute clip of their comedy, not the whole show.
Yeah.
But what's the best way to work on your YouTube as a Seya, so that then you build an audience for it, but also maintaining the integrity of your work to know that what I'm also selling is you seeing me live and saying this. But then when you see me live and saying this, you might be saying, but I've heard you say this 10 times before because it's on your YouTube.
Yeah.
Bro.
No, I'm working on how to work on my channel, because I've built it with my stand-up, you know. And the reason why I uploaded a lot of my stand-up on YouTube is because, like, I felt like I'm so invisible. Like, I got tired of playing the clubs and getting big gigs once off and stuff like that. And I was not getting corporates and weddings. And So I wanted a lot of people to see me. If I can play, this is how I calculated it. If I can do open mic, which is doing a gig in a tavern and not get paid, why not just upload the whole set so that people can know me, So I think that's how I survived the whole year past COVID, just past COVID, is because a lot of people were watching my things and then I got bookings, So money was also being made in that situation. And another thing for me, I write a lot. I don't like doing the same jokes over and over and over. I make sure I got new material, yeah, but I think for me it was pressure as well. But I'm still trying to find out like how am I gonna approach these things. That's why I'm investing in cameras and whatnot. I don't wanna do a podcast. I just wanna do something where like I share my opinions, my funny opinions about situations, because that's where my comedy.
Oh yeah,
comes
that's a
from.
good point. That would be a good avenue for you.
Yeah.
Like a funny take on what's happening with the Besta, funny take on what's happening with the electricity. Every time there's something new, that could be like an avenue for you.
Because I was thinking like that the line AKA had on a song called "Coming Live from the Third World," like when he kickstarts his verse on robbery, all eyes on me, because he's been political about things, but we didn't know,
you never noticed because you're vibing.
Away. Yeah,
you're vibing to the
so
beat.
he said "Coming Live from the Third World," so I want to have something like that, like "Coming Live from the Third World." So it's a thought process of a person from Africa, because the whole world has opinions about Africa. I'm not trying to talk about Africa, but I'm talking about the whole experience. That how we think and whatnot. And I'm gonna do it in English, but I'm still working out on how to attack social media and also be authentic as I am on stage, but at the same time on online.
If you were doing radio, what would you be doing specifically? What kind of broadcaster do you think you would be?
I love R&B. So Wilson Pink was the type of vibes would have been me. I love love. That's why I always get my heart broken. R&B Sunday. I don't mind graveyard, whatever. I don't mind. I don't want to do politics. I don't even write about politics. I don't want to do talk show. I don't want to do sport. I'm not a sports person. I don't watch soccer. I watch chick flicks, Netflix, all those things, girly things. So, I think R&B would have been my thing. Okay. Sunday.
All right. I need to wrap it up with you.
This was nice. Like, it didn't even feel like I'm like the
It's been an hour, 20 minutes. And it doesn't feel like that at all.
It doesn't feel like that at all. Like,
that's because it's not an interview. You're talking. That's what I'm trying to do, bro. I said this to Penwell.
I hope it's not gonna bore them.
No, that. Like, I mean,
was I boring? Was it nice?
You're not. Like, Most Def said something very interesting. Most Def is Yasin Bey now.
Yeah.
They have a podcast. Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Talib Kweli.
Talib, yes.
And I've subscribed to Luminary. It costs 250 rands per year because I love those. And they dropped 30-minute episodes. And one of the episodes, Most Def says, Yasin Bey, he says, "F it, man. Go outside. Read a book. Enlighten your fucking self. I'm not responsible for you being a boring person. If you don't understand my references, it's your fault. Like, fuck you. Go outside, go out there, read a book, do something, talk to people, enlighten yourself, open your eyes. I am not responsible for you not getting these references. It's not my fault. It's your fault. You know what I'm saying? If you don't understand the comedian this was fun. Like, this was very dope. But I understand that maybe only 3,000 people could like it, and that's okay. Like, 3,000 people could watch it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
We're not going to be responsible for the ignorance of 20,000 people who don't understand these jokes. Man. They can go f themselves. Like, that's the attitude and the spirit. Like, okay, you can go f yourself. I don't watch Seven Delan and complain that I don't understand the Afrikaans language. I don't understand Afrikaans. I understand it, but I don't care for Afrikaans.
What am I doing in SABC 2?
Yeah, like,
if I don't like Seven Delan.
Yeah, well, those kind of things. So, can I maybe steal 5 minutes of your time to talk about your favorite comedians, people that inspired you? People that you look at them and like, I would want to be more of that.
Yeah. Your favorite.
Your top 5.
Your top 5. International.
Or maybe make it a longer list than if you want to include local guys.
International, I'll go for number 1, Chris Rock. Yeah, Chris Rock is my number one. And then your favorite, Dave Chappelle, because his work ethic is amazing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and may his soul rest in peace. Was this guy, Penny Mac.
But
Penny Mac, I love him. Underrated right now, Eddie Griffin. That's my number four.
he's
He
super
is
smart.
amazing. He
He's
is
super
amazing.
His angles on
Yo.
religion.
On religion.
There's stand-up comedy that
No
he did.
Netflix special.
That dude is ridiculous.
Yo.
Like, he said to he said to DJ Vlad, he said something like it went over a lot of people's heads. It's not a huge line, but he was talking up. So they said the dude that accused Michael Jackson of raping him killed himself by the time he was 22. And Eddie Griffin had such a smart response to that. He's like, you cannot run away from yourself because everywhere you go, there you are. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, you can't run away from yourself because everywhere you go, there you are.
That's
you know,
deep.
and some of the that he does on religion
Yo.
is so deep. Like he's asking about why do we call that heaven and this earth when the soil is here? Like it's I can't even replicate what it does, but it's so clever.
When it talks about the church windows being dimmed and whatnot, so that you don't get to see the hustle.
That's dope. I don't think it's underrated. I think maybe sometimes you make moves that are not favorable. Like he's very outspoken as well.
Yeah.
Just like with Cat Williams. Cat Williams is outspoken.
Yes, that's my number 5.
His career would have been he's made money. He says
sorted.
He owns 100% of his shows. So he's made tens or hundreds of millions. But I think he would have been Kevin Hart's stratosphere if he was less outspoken. But I like him the way he is.
I like him the way he is. But this thing of being independent, like Jay-Z said something like, sometimes you can own 100% of nothing. So, Kevin Hart is the most successful in South Africa. Skhumba most definitely, because Skhumba is not running out of energy of steam. Like you would think like this guy by now would have been, because he's been like number one in South Africa.
And also this is a content business. Like what if you run out of content? But it keeps on churning it out.
He keeps on, never disappoint, every day, all day. Number 2, a female version of Skhumba, Celeste, because smart is on stage. Like smart I saw. Yeah, but on stage. And I love the fact that she never, not even once said things like male dominated, like she sees herself as a comedian, not as a woman or anything. Like she comes in and unapologetic about anything.
I watched one of her shows when she was here. She came here and then we did the podcast and then I watched one of her shows. She has a huge following too.
Yeah, she does.
Has a huge following.
I saw, you mentioned my name. I saw a lot of people are like, Seya, so yeah, I love her. And who's another one? I don't understand the language, Pedi. Salesman, but I see the audience, the way it reacts.
Well, his name is Salesman. Okay, how was he? Like his aura on stage?
Rodman. That guy's energy. Like he is energy, is everything. Like the audience just goes crazy. It's like a rock star. Like
sure.
Yeah. Again, unfortunately, because Pedi, the people, like it's a
minority group as well.
It's a small number, But if he was Nguni with that content, I'm sure he was gonna. But a lot of people know Salesman. You should look him up. He's amazing. He's amazing. Yeah. And Siyanda Maphumulo in Durban.
Shit.
Yeah, Sheikh Inja. Very creative. It's like a one-liner in Vernac.
Yeah.
Proper. Eastern Cape, Lupelo Kodwa, the funniest Xhosa
comedy.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen Lupelo.
Yeah, the funniest Xhosa. He should be number 1, in fact, on my list. Yeah.
He's better than you?
Way better.
Damn.
Because it doesn't swear, ne? That's number 1, is clean, because it can kill anything. Like it can be in any space. And then number 2, like the way he writes his story, he's a storyteller. It's a beautiful thing. For me, I just try to make it short and just, from the heart and whatnot. Yeah, but it's beautiful.
I said this to Kanya Sapono. I said, your stuff is different because it's like, it's like there's a punchline.
Yeah.
There's an intention to, waphakamisa isandla umntana wathi Messi ndifuna uba criminal, and everyone laughs.
Yeah.
And then there's like comedy where it's like this is multi-layered. the joke, you might hear it 5 minutes after it's been said.
Yeah.
Or like the situation might reappear 10 minutes later. Like Dave Chappelle tells you, he's like, I'm so good at this shit, I can write a story backwards.
Exactly.
And then this is the way that I'm writing a story backwards. So I kicked her in the...
Yeah.
And then he tells you a story. The punchline is, I kicked her in the... Tells you a story for 10 minutes. And you're literally following that story like a child. You're like, okay, what's happening? And then boom, the crescendo. And so I kicked her in the...
Exactly.
You know, and you understand, oh, and it's like, you can give me any punchline, I will tell you a story that goes back to that. So there's different layers to it. I need to pay more attention to Lupin.
Yeah,
I was following him on Facebook. Yeah. I need to pay more attention.
Again, it goes back to that thing of social media, because other people, they're just funny, and only comedians know how dope those people are.
Yeah.
You know, and if the social media guys, they come together with the stand-up comedy guys, then the whole mess will know that's the real content right there. That's the guy we should have been listening to. Yeah, but unfortunately, but no, it's gonna come out. That's why I'm saying, like, when this coalition that's happening between social media guys and stand-up comedians, it's gonna explode to something beautiful.
There you go. Seya, thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you. Hope I was not boring. Nice. And I spoke English for how long?
Damn, man. For close to 2 hours, you didn't speak your language.
Yes.
That's remarkable.
Yes, I'm sure a lot of people now will know that. Yeah, can speak English.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about boxing.
And next time. I know I'm next. I'm gonna have teeth, because I know what you've done for this guy. So yeah, anyone who comes to this couch after a year, yeah, they fill the gap.
There you go. Thank you very much to everyone who's watching. We hope you enjoy that. We try to widen the scope of the content, talking politics, talking comedy. It's not our fault if you don't understand the references. Thank you for watching.